Okay, so the big moment has arrived. The cultural battleground, movie is here, the Odyssey. And look, I have got to make one thing clear. I did not go into this movie wanting to hate it, wanting to dislike it. I genuinely went in wanting to have my mind changed, wanting to feel that escapism, that movie magic that I feel like is getting harder and harder to find. I love those swords and sandals movies, so I always go in wanting to have the best time possible. But I have to admit, I did see all the red flags, so I didn't have extremely high hopes going in. Yet I still got disappointed. The late embargo wasn't a good sign. Look, one good thing is that it was a 3-hour movie and I didn't go to the bathroom one time. I'm very proud of myself. I couldn't hold out for Scream 7, but for this, my bladder was okay. Make it make sense. This is a movie I wouldn't have minded missing a few minutes of. So do I think this movie is going to be a box office flop? No. I think it'll break even, probably even earn some money. But I do feel like public perception is starting to shift. Take Disclosure Day. Earlier this year, for example, Steven Spielberg made a movie that I don't think it was a huge flop when it comes to the box office, but public perception is starting to shift when it comes to these men who cinematically can do no wrong. First Steven Spielberg, now Christopher Nolan. How the mighty are starting to fall. Okay, so when it comes to the social commentary, the woke factor is not the main problem here. Look, it's there, but it's definitely not the main problem. The main problem is that it just isn't a very good movie in general. And look, I'll be honest, if I don't agree with the social commentary in a movie or show, but I still think that movie or show is good, I'll separate those two things. Like Mike Flanagan, I think him and I have very, very different beliefs, but I still think he is a master at what he does, and I'll say that. Here, yeah, it just didn't do anything for me. Nolan's always been one of those directors, like Eggers, who really cares about historical accuracy, which I appreciated. And I feel like The Dark Knight is probably my favourite Nolan movie, but more due to Heath Ledger's incredible performance rather than Nolan's directing. That's not to say I don't think he is a talented director. That would be ridiculous to say. Like, he obviously is an incredibly talented man, but I've never been one of those people that thinks that he can do no wrong. I think Oppenheimer, this is Oppenheimer 2.0. It's another bomb. Look, honestly, I just think there's a particular vicious breed of fanboy who calls himself a Nolan fanboy, or she. They are aggressive. When I said I didn't like Oppenheimer, oh my gosh, like, it was the same thing as is already happening now with the discourse that I see surrounding this movie. It's that you don't get the ideas behind it, the cerebral nature of Nolan and his filmmaking. You just don't get it. Rather than accepting the fact that we just don't like it. It would be like me attacking someone for liking this movie. I would never do that. I might not like it myself, but I'm not going to say that you're wrong to enjoy it. And I've seen other reviewers that I respected already starting to say things to their followers like, you're dumb for not liking this. I'm like, are you serious? Those are people that support you, that help put money in your pocket, and you're calling them dumb? Anyway, if you guys want to see more videos from me, please consider subscribing. It would really help my channel to grow. So when it comes to Nolan and his historical accuracy, that was the one thing I was really counting on with this movie. And now we don't have that. Instead, he's taking a page out of the playbook from the Harry Potter writers when it comes to accuracy. So the whole attack the fans defense has already started. Nolan had an interview where he said that the opinions of people regarding this movie is irrelevant, regarding like the ratio. So if you don't know, it has like an insanely high ratio, like 80 or 90% dislikes, and that is even higher than the Snow White movie, to put it in perspective. So for him to call the consumers irrelevant, I mean, you're creating a product for those consumers. So who are you creating it for if they're irrelevant? Okay, so if it's not about audience satisfaction, what's the point of this movie? Christopher Nolan has been in the game for a long time. He knows that if he made less controversial decisions, this movie would make a lot more money. So if it's not about the money, what is it about? Well, he says that himself in an interview, what it's about. It's about appealing to a modern audience. So what is a modern audience? A young audience, because they're more impressionable, easier to pass upon values to. So honestly, I think it's also about ticking those diversity requirements that you now need to be a contender for the Oscars. So there's that. Okay, so I'm genuinely trying to find something positive to say. I really am, but I'm struggling. The score was okay for the most part. Towards the end, it does this build-up thing, this build-up to this big moment. And it was really annoying more than anything, but for the most part, it was okay. People are acting like it's the best thing since sliced bread. I don't agree. Honestly, everything felt very lackluster, and considering the sheer amount of money that went into this, not saying that every movie that has a lot of money behind it is automatically a good movie, but still, the sheer scale of this movie, I genuinely thought, if nothing else, it'll at least be a case of style over substance. It'll be a beautiful empty shell of a movie. I genuinely can't even say that. I wasn't blown away at any of the big moments that I should have been. This is a movie that I really thought I would have a few moments where I have those like goosebumps, this is cinema sort of reaction based on just the sheer beauty of what they were filming, just the visuals alone, but I don't even have that. I mean, for a movie that had Cyclops and sirens and whirlpool monsters, it really failed to capture the imagination and elicit any emotion. It was just very hollow and soulless, and I think the dog, Odysseus's dog, brought out the most emotion in me. This just felt long, boring, bloated, pretentious. A movie with a Cyclops should not be boring. And look, the runtime, 3 hours, I felt it. I felt it deep down in my soul. And I didn't feel it when I rewatched Troy. I watched the extended version this time, which is 3 hours and 16 minutes. Didn't feel it. And that's not just because I was at home in my pajamas. It's also because it was a good movie. I genuinely preferred it to this movie. The costumes, I can't even give it that. Like the costumes, I'm genuinely not trying to be negative. I'm really not, but the costumes weren't that great. Like people have been comparing it to Lord of the Rings, and I'm like, really? Really? There's going too far, then there is just straight up blasphemy. The Lord of the Rings spent years getting everything right, making the costumes look like they were worn in and, you know, they weren't brand new and perfect looking. Well, definitely not perfect looking. They also were just very ill-suited to the characters. They just looked off somehow. People are comparing it also to Once Upon a Time, which is a TV show, but honestly, even the costumes in Once Upon a Time were better. Genuinely, like a fairly low-budget TV show. So I don't know what they were thinking with that one. It's like the Rings of Power. They had so much money, but the costumes just looked really bad. And for an epic, it definitely felt forgettable. This is a movie I was genuinely shocked going to a media screening at the lack of applause for a Nolan movie. It was 2 seconds at most. Nobody was standing up or making a fuss. And I didn't really feel the benefit of seeing it in IMAX for a movie that was filmed for IMAX. That is saying a lot. So Troy might not be a perfect movie, but at least nobody said daddy or let's go. There was actually some really good dialogue in Troy.
The gods envy us. They envy us because we're mortal. Because any moment might be our last. Everything's more beautiful because we're doomed. You will never be lovelier than you are now. We will never be here again.
Troy doesn't get enough credit for its dialogue and fight scenes, and all around it was just a better movie. Go rewatch Troy. Okay, so one of the comments under the trailer made me laugh. Someone said, the yogurt in my fridge has more Greek in it than in this movie, and it's so right. Like, there isn't one single Greek in a prominent role. They may be extras in the background, but not one single Greek in a prominent role in this Greek epic, filmed partially in Greece. So that is such a slap in the face to the Greek people. And there's so much diversity in this Greek tale. And I'm not saying I hate diversity. I'm just saying I want it to be appropriate to the story. And I don't think in ancient Greece there was a whole lot of Asians, African Americans, Indians like there are here. Like Odysseus, I know I can't say his name right, I'm tired. So he's a right-wing guy, right-wing soldier guy, is played by an Indian man, and I'm just gonna say the quiet part out loud. It's immersion breaking. And it comes out the same week where everyone is praising Moana for the Hawaiian representation, as it should have. It's a Hawaiian tale based on Hawaiian heritage and mythology. But why is it we can't have European mythology, the upcoming Narnia movies that, know that is going to be a disaster. The Rings of Power, all European stories, it seems like we're told we need diversity. And yeah, it's just not fair that it only ever goes one way with these people. And I'm not saying I only want to see people like me in movies and TV, like The Curse of La Llorona. I was watching that, rewatching it not too long ago, and I just kept thinking this would have been so much better. Set in Mexico, I find out there's a sequel and hoping they're going to correct their mistake. Instead of Los Angeles, this time they're basing it in New York. I'm like, why? This is a Latin American folk tale. Why aren't we basing it there? Make it make sense. Anyway, the story itself just doesn't feel very cohesive. It doesn't flow. It feels very disjointed at times. And just, the lack of emotion again was really surprising. At least I thought I would feel some emotional connection to the story, but nope. So Nolan really wanted the whole God aspect of the movie to be grounded in reality as much as could be possible, telling this story. Yet he still had Athena and a Cyclops. It feels like he went in halfway. Why not just go all the way? Give us Zeus and Poseidon. Isn't Poseidon meant to be the main villain of the story? Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, go all out. Show the sea monsters, the gods. Let this epic movie feel epic. I want to see the gods being angry and causing the storms and huge sea monsters like that Hercules TV show, if you had given it a really, really, really big budget. And I get that he went in wanting to show how the primitive mindsets of these people made them think that natural disasters were acts of gods. I get that, but this wasn't the story to tell grounded in realism. It genuinely made the movie more boring. It was such a lost opportunity for such an easy way to make the movie so much more epic. Okay, so Zendaya is only in this for a few minutes, and once again, she gives us one facial expression, and I'm not the most emotive person, but I'm not paid to emote for a living. It's just every movie she's in, we get the same thing, and I don't know, the fact that her and Tom Holland are married and they're in 2 prominent movies together this year, who knows if that has anything to do with it. I'm not saying that it does. Tom Holland, obviously, as Odysseus' son, had a much larger role in this. But yeah, Zendaya just gives us nothing. And I go into her movies wanting to be proven wrong to see a good Zendaya performance, but I just haven't seen it yet. And the fact that she's in this, Spider-Man and Dune, 3 of the biggest movies of the year, I mean, with her acting range, she must have some serious blackmail material on somebody in Hollywood, like, to get these roles. So Helen of Troy and The Greatest Warrior of all time are only in it for a few minutes each. But it's not about the amount of screen time. That's what a lot of people are critiquing, saying, well, critiquing people like me, I mean, saying, oh, they're only in it for a few minutes of a 3-hour movie. That's not the point. The point is it was deliberate. The point is that those casting choices made up so much of the discourse surrounding this movie. It was intentional. I mean, look at the premiere of the Odyssey, like saying the greatest warrior of all time. Ugh, really? I mean, the character wasn't even in the book this movie is based upon. They made a new character just to say that line, the greatest warrior of all time. So instead of a mythological blockbuster full of sea monsters and glory, we get a deconstructed hero's journey. Yet again. They make him more emotional, more relatable. The point of the hero isn't to be relatable. It's that he's doing things that the average person hasn't done. Not saying that heroes shouldn't be inspiring to people, but Hollywood just seems to hate heroes. It's like they all need to be deconstructed and villains need to be sympathetic. And the lines between good and evil are getting blurred, right and wrong. It's like sympathetic villains, like the Joker. Don't get me wrong, I like those movies. I even like a deconstructed hero movie. Now and then, not in every single movie. And don't even get me started on the Joker too. It's like the creator of the Joker really hated his own creation and just destroyed it as much as he possibly could. And I said in the trailer for the Joker 2, I know this isn't going to be good, and that to this day is my most disliked video. Yeah, look who's laughing now. Just saying. It's just so normalized now that it feels intentional. We have no more tales of courage and virtue and morality. It's like the latest Robin Hood movie or Supergirl. The list just goes on and on. Or they're straight up destroying the hero, like with Luke Skywalker. And Lupita Nyong'o, however you pronounce it, did an interview. Let's just say I wouldn't be surprised if she had the same PR team as Rachel Zegler, because she just destroyed Homer while she thought she was destroying him. She was like, where's all the feminism, Homer? Or something like that. And like, why can't they just talk about the movie itself and how much fun they had filming it? Why do they have to always make it about social commentary? And there was this weird black blood magic ritual that, I mean, it's not like magic like you'd see in the Harry Potter movies. It's really creepy, dark stuff, like in the werewolf trailer. It just feels like it's becoming more popular. Even in kids' movies, they have a ritual, like in the Minions and Monsters movie, summoning monsters, doing occult stuff. And it's just like, it feels like they're desensitizing people to it. And like I said, not like just Harry Potter stuff, but something really creepy. I mean, I don't want to go into spoilers, but yeah, the whole scene just felt a little out of place. Let's just say that. Okay, so Travis Scott plays the bard because apparently rap is the modern day equivalent of ancient oral poetry, according to Christopher Nolan. And let's just say that's true. Even if it is, it doesn't fit the tone and the vibe and the feel of this movie. I mean, give me this bard.
Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty, oh.
So Tom Holland and Anne Hathaway give the best performances in this. That's not really saying a lot. Anne Hathaway really struggled with her accent, and she's another actress like Zendaya that I just have fatigue of. I'm so sick of seeing her in everything. And look, I will be fair, the guy that plays Aurelio in the John Wick movies, which I love those movies, but he does a good job. He's a good actor, but in the interviews, once again, he makes it all about representation. It's like the whole cast did the same thing, and that's what frustrates people like me. No one was just talking about the story itself. So he was talking about how there isn't enough Latino representation, and maybe that's something that should be brought up, but this wasn't the time or place to have that discussion in a movie that's a Greek epic, saying there isn't enough Latinos in it. I mean, you're playing a white guy. You took that role from a Greek. They're so tone deaf. And I didn't feel like I was seeing characters on screen. I felt like I was seeing celebrities reciting lines. Yeah, they just didn't lose themselves in the roles, but there was no Pedro Pascal. That's saying something. It's not saying a lot, but it's saying something. So Robert Pattinson played a villain. He was fine. Like, it was somewhat satisfying seeing him get his comeuppance. Yeah, that's a positive. But it felt like his character needed to be fleshed out more. Considering this was a 3-hour-long movie, I would have liked to see more of his character. Matt Damon as Odysseus, I mean, he just lacked the charisma. I didn't buy this guy as part of an army, let alone the leader of an army. And we have to be invested in him because this is his story. If we're not emotionally connected to him and his hero's journey, we're not going to care about the story. Not having those emotional ties there to care enough about this man finding his way home means the whole movie just collapses like a house of cards just caving in. And we're told how great this man is. We're rarely shown. He does show wisdom throughout the movie. I will give him that, like the scene with Cersei. But still, they were too far and few in between to really get a grasp of why this man had the reputation that he did of being so great. He was definitely no Aragorn, and I know that is a very, very, very high standard, but still. It just felt like the Gladiator 2 where they needed to hold down the men to elevate the women, and you don't need to do that. It's ridiculous. I grew up on Xena. Like, you can't have strong women in the same movie as strong men. I like that they didn't make one side of the war into innocent men because they were the protagonists. We still see them doing horrible things. And look, as far as the modern feminist approach, look, I do feel like there was a story to tell there about how women got treated during wars from both sides. You know, they would get assaulted probably multiple times. Their babies would be killed in front of them. Horrific, horrific things happened, and there was a story to tell there. But the approach was what got me. I haven't read the book it's based upon, so I know the Cersei scene was in the book. I don't know if it was faithful to the book, but it did feel very on the nose. I don't want to give away spoilers, but Cersei was a witch in the movie who does something to the army when they come to her home, asking to be fed, well, demanding to be fed, but still. Hathaway's character, she's meant to be this very wise queen who kept all these suitors away from her for all these years, and we just don't really see that. What we do see is a very bitter, angry woman who's very resentful at the world, and yeah, she has a right to be. She's in a horrible position, but I think what got me is how demeaning she was to her own son and full of anger at him. He did nothing wrong. It's just, if they were trying to portray a girl boss, like, you're just making her unlikable. Like, it was just a swing and a miss. This whole movie, I would give it a 4 out of 10. So let me know your thoughts if you've seen it. I'd really like to know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all of that YouTube stuff. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in another video.